Pro Ball Spark. You want good words? Data languager.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Count with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Rother Brothers Monday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. We got all kinds of stuff we can talk about today. College football at the end of the show. What are you most looking forward to, not only from the state schools, but just with the possibilities of the season? Maybe teams, maybe players, maybe conferences, whatever it might be. But what are you most looking forward to as, gosh, what are we? This time next week, we'll be in week 0. Games will be played by the end of next week. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Is that right? That is right.
It is right. Yeah, this weekend's the 21st, and next weekend's the 28th, and
yep.
Bam, there we are.
Yeah, but this time next week, it'll be basically
it's a game week.
Game week.
Game week for college, game week for us.
For high school, yeah.
So what are you most looking forward to there?
Cooler weather.
Some people got rain last night. You got rain?
I stood at the end of my garage and just watched it. Like the dork I am. It smelled great. It was about 11 o'clock. I thought, there's no way that's rain. Went out to the garage. There it was.
No rain.
It was amazing.
No, there's rain north of town. I saw some photos of that. We were laying around on the couch watching TV. It's about 9:15. All of a sudden, the dog just starts barking at the front door. Like, Kara's like, somebody's there. I'm like, no. Nobody's there. She's barking at the lightning.
Oh.
Because you could see some lightning.
Yeah.
And I was like, she said, lightning? I'm like, yeah. And so I looked it up. I'm like, yeah. Don't worry about us. It's north of here. It's just built up, bam, right? In town, north of town, but not out south. So anyhow, what are you looking forward to there? Cool weather is a good answer. Good news for us is the first
hopeful answer.
First couple of weeks, we'll be all right.
Yeah?
We'll be all right the first couple of weeks.
Did you happen to go check it out?
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't. Here's the deal. I didn't know exactly where everything was, stages-wise and up there. And I didn't want to attract a bunch of attention if it wasn't, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just I looked, kind of checked it out from the stands or what have you, but I did not go.
You have the
up
right
there.
to go in there.
Yeah, but I'm after, all the kids, I can't tell any of those kids that want to come talk on the microphone on Friday. I just let them. Like, come on. I don't care how small you are. I made some of them.
Okay.
But for the most part, it was like, hey, if you want to come in, there was a bunch that wanted. Now, the one little girl wanted to hold the microphone. I was like, whoa. That's too far. I got this. You can just talk into it. No, it was a good deal. It's the first time they've ever done that, and I think that's going to be a yearly yearly thing.
Look like a crowded.
It was a good crowd, and a bunch of people stayed around
yeah.
for the scrimmage as well. So we can hit that. NFL. I saw this future power ranking list today on NFL or on ESPN.com. Basically, what it's doing is just projecting the teams for the next 3 seasons. Who's in the best shape, even past this one? So who's in best shape? And that goes with money, that goes with talent, coaching. A lot of different things go into that. And we'll kind of talk about how that list was made and where teams are at. I think on any of these lists, one thing can change it dramatically, and that is quarterbacks coming into the league. So which quarterbacks that are in college football this year, by the time this ranking is up next year, might change the fortunes of some franchises because, A, they're good, and B, they don't cost much. We're starting to see that trend, right, where because of how the market has become with the top tier quarterbacks outside of Patrick Mahomes, who's won? You know, we always see that list at the end of the season, right? And it's the top, 6 out of the top 7 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. Their team didn't make the playoffs. You know, it seems like that's been a constant thread throughout here for a little bit. So, which quarterbacks in college might be able to elevate whoever drafts them immediately because of being good and not costing much? And then we'll see what happened over the weekend. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of that. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. You can log on to kadsam.com, or you can download the app. Paragon app is free to download. It's got everything. It's got radio. It's got the Penny News. We'll have a brand new edition of the Penny News hitting the website tomorrow night, thepennynews.com. So rush out and get your free copy of this week's Penny News, and then by Wednesday or so, you can get a brand new copy of the Penny News. Big Elk and Paragon TV. Big Elk TV the 28th, Paragon TV the next week. Getting started with some football. Elk City and Merritt. Then, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast available anywhere podcasts are available. How are you today, Jared Atha?
Pretty good. How are you?
So you did see rain.
Yep. I even recorded it on my phone so people would believe me.
AJ did his chores in the rain.
Yeah. I was tempted to step out in the rain, but that lightning you mentioned kept me indoors.
See, that's a lot like us last Friday when we were out in New Mexico. There was a little light, but not really that much. Mm-hmm. When we were walking down to go find something to eat, just walking through the rain. I'm like, hey, we haven't got a chance to do this in months.
Yeah.
So why not?
Right. Yeah. It's awesome.
Totally understand. I saw over that way an inch of rain, according to Facebook, over your way.
Really? Well, it was like big rain. Like it almost sounded like hail. It was so big. Or maybe it was just because I haven't heard rain in quite some time. But it was great. Looked at my daughter and said, I think I might have to mow this week.
Yeah. I'm about to shut off the water. It just looks ridiculous.
Like
the yard
some spots are green. It's a struggle.
And when you look at the old forecast and you've got 99, 106, 106, 100, 101, doesn't give you a lot of confidence.
I'm seeing some rumors that relief is coming.
The week
after.
Yeah.
It's like at the end of next week-ish. Maybe even by the time for our football game.
I looked ahead on the app that a lot of us use for severe weather stuff, and it did look like there was a pretty decent chance of rain. It won't tell you what time of day yet, that far out, but on that Friday, it did look like there was a pretty decent chance of rain.
Well, like last night, I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it.
I had no idea it was even supposed to have a chance of rain last night.
I saw that.
It must have changed because I didn't do the weather on Friday since I was gone. Mm-hmm. Did it pop in there then? Or was it even?
No, it wasn't even there. There was nothing on Friday. Nothing. But I did see Sunday morning that somebody had put out there that there are I don't know what they call these storms.
Pop-up showers.
Pop-up showers sporadically throughout the area. And all I heard was, it's going to be north of us, south of us, but it's not going to be on us. We're just going to see it. And for the large part of yesterday, it was. You could see it to the east and to the west. And like Clinton was getting some rain, and then areas all the way over around Anadarko, then west of us all popping up. Even hearing thunder, but no rain. But we got lucky enough where we got some rain right there in the middle of town. But a friend of mine who lives 2 miles to the south of me said, I'm getting nothing. I text group. He was like, I got nothing. We're getting nothing. I think he said he eventually got some. It literally just popped up on us.
Yeah.
It was great. It was really cool. Even the air, you could feel the air get cooler. I was like, this is amazing. This is so good.
There is a 20% chance this afternoon.
Well.
Into the evening, kind of like last night.
Well, the trade-off is lightning. I guess it started a couple grass fires.
Looked like one over at Burns Flat was
and
out by Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Saw some pictures of that
Yeah.
this morning. Yeah, well, it's just so dry. I mean,
It
it's so dry.
is
That's
bad.
going to be a natural.
But we need more of that rain.
What else you do this weekend?
Oh, not a lot. Saturday, had nothing to do. James, my youngest, finally talked me into taking her to go see Spider-Man. It was the second time I've seen it, but she was begging me to go see it. I said, listen, it's a long movie. You got to sit still. And it wound up being a little daddy-daughter date. Went to Boomtown, got some food. She wanted jalapeno poppers. Blew my mind. She's 9 years old. Spicy and little kids don't really get along, but she wanted some jalapeno poppers to start. She got some naked wings, bone in. She likes to eat it right off the bone. And then we went to the movie, and she was good. Watched the movie, enjoyed it. Came home and go, you know what? Let's go swimming. We're watching our neighbor's house, taking care of our neighbor's house.
Mm-hmm.
Watering his plants. He's gone for like 2 weeks, and he has a pool. And he always says, "Hey, go swimming anytime." So I told James, "Hey, go get your suit on. Let's go." Because it was hot Saturday afternoon. So let's go swimming. Went swimming and wound up cooking burgers that night. Yesterday we had a scrimmage with James's team in the Pink Sox from here in Elk City. And that went well. Got a lot of work in with everybody at different positions, getting ready for the fall season. Sweated about another 5 pounds off. I wish that rain had come right after the scrimmage. But that was it. Oh, well, I mean, Friday, watched some softball. My oldest played some softball right over here at Elk City, and they did well, won that tournament, and looked really good. I mean, I saw really good softball at a junior high level between Canute and Elk City.
Yeah, it looked like Canute was first, and the two Elk Cities were second and third.
Yep.
Of what I saw.
I mean, you talk about hitting the ball hard, good pitching on both sides, good defense on both sides. It's what you could see a softball game and go, well, this is really lopsided. Or you could see a softball game and go, those are two good teams, and it wouldn't surprise me whoever won. And it was fun. It was a fun game. It gets me excited when it's at the junior high level, and I say that a lot. I've said it a lot. But Elk City's got it going on. We know that with Coach Murray. And that it's going to continue with that group he has in the junior high level. He has the numbers, my goodness, enough to have those two teams, and they're developing pitching and the hitting. The athletes on both those teams are really good. And we know obviously I know what Canute has. It was really fun to see those two teams play. Really fun. Really fun stuff. So that was Friday night.
Yeah, there was lots of softball over the weekend.
There was.
Lots of it. Lakiba ended up coming back and winning the tournament at Hobart.
Lakiba did.
Beat us twice.
I was wondering.
Beat Navajo and then Elk City twice on Saturday.
So Lakiba might have a team.
I know Lakiba beat Leedy last week too. I remember that from the Skinny on Sports Report.
Keep an eye
3-2. First game was 3-2 in 8 innings, and then 8-0 the second one. It was hot. Ooh, I would not like to be out there. I'll tell you, I went to a place.
I found the trick though. By the way, going to games, everyone likes to bring their chair and sit right up front there. I go into the stands, sit at the very top, get that wind on my back,
wind
blowing on me. And you make sure strategically you're in the shade at the same time.
Right. Yeah, I always like to sit in my chair down the way, but there's no shade unless somebody brings a tent. That's kind of a pain.
And I have one of those seat back things you could put on on the stands. And but on Friday I went to the very top where that railing was right there. I could just lean back against, and it was right in the shade until we're looking right at the sun, and everybody was in the sun. But the wind was blowing pretty good Friday night.
It wasn't too bad down over at the park.
When the wind's blowing,
the wind was blowing, and they got a good shady spot where everything was set up. It wasn't too terribly bad whatsoever. And then by the time the scrimmage actually started, the sun was down far enough to where some of the field was getting shade, and that just got more and more until it was, time for the lights to kick in.
Yeah.
I went to a place when I was at Saturday night over in Clinton. It was our old buddy Joe's birthday. Joe Wynn.
Oh, Joe Wynn. Okay.
It was Joe's birthday this weekend. It was actually yesterday, but we went and...
Well, happy birthday, Joe.
Yeah, a bunch of us went and ate over at Clinton.
Where'd you eat?
adjacent to the bowling alley.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Wait, the steakhouse? Haven't been there. Good?
It was very, very good.
I've seen the menu, and the menu looks like a steakhouse menu, but the price is what stood out to me. It was like,
it was very good,
yeah.
And that was something that we all said. For what we paid, the food was phenomenal. It was good.
I have heard good things. I just haven't had the opportunity.
No, it was good.
Well, I need to go check that out.
I'd recommend. Would recommend. Did that. Had to teach Sunday school yesterday.
Yeah.
Brother Dave was in Wyoming for a wedding. Do you realize who got married this weekend?
Oh, no.
Bob Stoops' daughter.
Oh.
And got married to a young man that people will remember playing basketball around here. Gunnar Garrison. Played at Cheyenne. His dad, Rick, was superintendent at Elk City.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Gunnar
had no idea.
married into the Stoops family.
I saw Rick and Carol's pictures on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
They look great, by the way. And I didn't connect the two, what they were doing.
Yes.
Because Rick's living his best life retired, I can tell you that.
He had a cowboy hat on and everything.
He's living his best life retired. He is doing retirement the right way. Well, that's cool. And they got married in Wyoming.
Yep, Jackson Hole.
Why Wyoming? I
guess because Big Game Bob can do whatever he wants. Be my guess.
I paid for the wedding. We're going to go to.
There you go. Might as well be cool. If we're gonna have an August wedding, it might as well be cool.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I had to teach the Sunday school class. Appreciate everybody in our class participating, so it wasn't just me rambling on. But other than that, is inside. Lots of inside. The Path to Miracles tournament was good on Friday. A lot of people there. We tied for first. We shot 20. Yeah. We shot 21 under. Now listen, we had throws.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody had a throw, but you couldn't throw it on the green. Like you couldn't just drop your ball in the hole. But it was an extension of your shot. So, like for instance, one of the guys in our group on our team hit it so far on number 15, he hit it over the creek on the par 5.
Okay.
And so he threw it on the green. We're putting for 2 on a par 5.
Well, when you have them, use them strategically. I've golfed with a group where immediately on the first hole, one of the guys is wanting to use his throw. And I'm like, hey, listen, DC.
Well, here's the deal.
Are you putting the connection?
I got it.
Listen, big guy, no.
Yeah.
We got a full 17 more holes to go.
The guys we played with on the same tee box, they used 2 of their throws on the first hole.
You see, I don't understand. Guys, you're going to need those. You might need them later.
Well, I mean, it's a shot no matter how you do it, unless you can throw it in they were just barely. It was pretty. The idea was good. The execution was awful.
Yeah.
Because they were on the fringe, so it wasn't like they were having to, like throw it. It was more like just kind of roll it, just kind of pitch it up there, underhanded.
Which is harder than it looks.
Just let it roll to the hole, right? And then all of a sudden, you make a 2 or if you roll it in, you make a 2, but you have an easy eagle for a par 5. And it was on number 11. And you know how number 11 at Elk City, it's got that slope on the left of the green where it goes down onto it just goes away from the hole.
Yep.
And unfortunately, both guys that tossed threw it too hard and it went past the pin and it rolled all the way off the green. So theoretically, they could have used another throw and used 3 throws on the first hole. Team captain afterwards was lamenting the fact that he didn't call timeout in between the throws to at least discuss whether or not we should do another throw, or definitely discuss the technique and where the throw needed to go.
Yeah.
Tyler was not happy about the throwing there on the first hole. Now, I had to throw one from number 13, long par 3. We missed it over to the right, kind of down by the cart path almost. There was a cedar tree sort of in my way. And the pin was on the right, so it was like a tucked pin, and it was our 3rd hole. And I was the one that was chosen to throw. Good throw. Good throw. It's up there about 5 feet. Which, I mean, it's nerve-wracking. Because you know if you don't execute it, you're going to catch a rash of trash talk.
There's a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs on you making that throw.
Yeah, all 14 of them that are on your and everybody can't wait to make fun of the guy that did a terrible throw.
Right.
We had one of those in our group who threw it off the green.
Oh.
But good news was it stayed on the fringe.
Yeah.
So then we could putt it, and we made the putt. So even though we got to – it was like the best of both worlds. We got to make fun of the terrible throw, but it didn't cost us anything because we made – you know what I mean? Because he drove it up by the green on a par 4 on number 9. Threw it too far, it went to the front fringe, but we made it for a 2. So it all worked out in the end. Bad throw, but good putt. Other than that, inside. Lots of inside. It's just so hot.
It's just hot. Either inside or submerged in water.
Yeah, we didn't even consider going out in the pool, which is pretty crazy. Because it's finally clear again. We had a little technical difficulties last week, but that got all figured that out and fixed it, and now our pool is clear again, which is nice. For the next couple more weeks.
So I totally forgot the craziest thing that happened this weekend to me. On Saturday night, when I come to bed, it's about 10:30, and Katie's at a sleepover, so it's just me, James, and Allie, and James she's in bed in my side of the bed, and she's coloring, and she's pretty settled in. I was watching a documentary in the garage, decided I need to come inside, but I didn't want to. I wanted to finish the documentary, but it's kind of like a rated R documentary, a lot of language. It's like, well, and James like, here, I'll scoot over. I'm like, you know what? I'll go sleep in your bed and finish watching this show, and I'll just crash in your bed. So I did that, and I went to sleep. And about 5:30, I hear this sound, and it's, you know the sound. You have a dog. Mm-hmm. You know that sound when the dog's peeing?
Oh, no.
I'm hearing this sound, and my dog knows well enough. He'll wake you up if he has to go outside. But I hear this sound, and I immediately jump out of bed, ready to wring that dog's neck. It's not the dog. It's James's fish tank is leaking.
Oh, no.
And dripping onto the floor in a constant stream, a really good stream. So I run, grab a 5-gallon bucket in the garage, come out, put it underneath it, go get Allie, tell her we got a problem. She comes in there. It was a mess, an absolute mess. So save the fish. There's only 4 of them in there. It's a little 10-gallon tank. And fortunately, my nephew who just moved to town has a fish tank. He said, bring him on over.
Bring him over.
Put him
Good.
in there. So I did. So he's babysitting the fish until we can get a new fish tank. But I just kept thinking, what if I hadn't decided to finish that documentary and go into James's room and watch it? What if I just slept on the couch or jumped in the bed with James and Mom, just cuddled up, and we would have woken up to an empty fish tank with dead fish and probably ruined carpet at that point.
Right.
Nightmare.
Not a lot of
Imagine waking up to that.
Not a lot of worse sounds than like running water inside the house.
Oh, I heard that. And again, I thought it was the dog. And it wasn't. It was the fish.
Oof.
Oh, it's a nightmare. And I told Allie, we're done with fish tanks. And then a little bit later, James was like, well, I guess we got to get a new fish tank so I can get my fish back. And Allie's looking at me like,
yeah,
you heard her.
Not done with fish tanks.
Crazy. I mean, I took that fish tank later in the day. I took it outside because I just grabbed, once I siphoned it out, I took it to the tub. Just put it in the tub because it was still 5:30 in the morning. We didn't have to get up for another few hours before church. But I took it outside, filled it full of water. It wasn't leaking. It was the weirdest thing. But I still tossed it. I'm done.
Yeah, why would
I'm
you?
done. I'm not going to risk this.
No. There's zero reason to take that risk again when you're probably pretty fortunate to save what you were able to save.
That is a nightmare. That'll get you up in a hurry, I tell you that.
All right, that was our weekends. How was your weekend? One more weekend before real football. We're almost there.
Hey, Dallas won their preseason game, so Super Bowl, here we come. Woo! That defense, yeah.
Is there any
back.
doubt? We'll be back.
Put proven Case IH power to work on your operation from Rother Brothers Equipment in Clinton, Oklahoma. They carry Case IH combine, tractors, cultivators, swathers, and balers, built for the demanding days in the field. From planting and hay season to harvest, Case IH delivers the performance and reliability farmers count on. Come see the new lines at Rother Brothers Equipment on Highway 183 North in Clinton, or browse equipment online at rotherbrothers.com. When the job demands power, performance, and reliability, Case IH and Rother Brothers are ready for the work ahead.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. It is the Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, hanging out here on a Rother Brothers Monday. Appreciate the gang over at Rother Brothers, Highway 183, just north of Clinton. Rother Brothers, all kinds of different equipment, all kinds of used and new equipment, parts, everything that you're looking for. They offer a variety of agricultural and outdoor power equipment that is second to none. Some of the brands that they sell and service include Case IH, Great Plains, Rhino, JCB. There's so many. Anything you're looking for, Rother Brothers is the spot. Selection is awesome. So stop on in. Always ready to help there at Rother Brothers, Highway 183, just north of Clinton. All right, this NFL preseason game's going, as you mentioned, Dallas. I know you're a little bit tongue-in-cheek there about the Cowboys winning their opening.
You asked me about my weekend, and I did not say I watched any preseason exposition games. I didn't watch any of that.
I didn't either. I will say this, though. I have paid a little bit of attention to some different things. There is a chance, at least the early reviews of a guy who may, I have piled on this guy for a couple of years now. But you know who's been looking really, really good so far in the NFL? And he was good in the he's good in the preseason game this week.
Was this a rookie?
Yes. Rookie quarterback.
Fernando?
No. Drew Aller.
Oh, where's
from
he at?
Penn State. He's at Pittsburgh.
Okay, one of those novelty picks. Keep the homeboy home.
10 of 13, 153, and 2 touchdowns. And I'd seen last week, like during the practices, that he's drawing rave reviews.
Well, he might be the next guy up. Who
Mike
knows?
McCarthy. I'm like, oh no. First, Bo Nix. Even though we'll see about Bo Nix. He's just got such a good team. He didn't have to do anything crazy. But, yeah, Drew Aller. Maybe one of those guys that's a way better pro than what he was in college.
So the lesson here, kids, is if Skinny is ragging on a quarterback, draft him onto your fantasy team. You never know.
I don't know if we need to go that far quite
How bad?
yet.
So, that's a gut punch for college fans, like for Penn State, for example. What if he goes and he's just awesome? And like, why couldn't you do that last year,
Yeah, there's going to be a lot more people upset about that than just me. And Penn State fans will be the ones.
Or
really?
what if Jaden Ott turns into a superstar of a running back and people are like, what the heck? What happened? You could barely get on the field in Norman, and now you're with the world champ Chiefs.
Especially if the guy that coached him in Norman is now coaching him with the Chiefs and he becomes
out how
good.
to use them, yeah.
Yeah, but Drew Aller so far looking really good in Pittsburgh camp and was really good in that first preseason game.
Yeah,
so maybe Drew Aller can
preseason
can raise the stakes here on this next topic that we got. So the ESPN, it was a bunch of writers, a bunch of guys like Louis Riddick is one of them that contributed to this, Aaron Schatz, Ben Solak, and Seth Walder. And basically what they did was they compiled a future power rankings. And it skips even this season. It's from 2027 through 2029. And they ranked it with each team's quarterback situation, the remaining roster, the front office, and the coaching staff is kind of what as how they compiled this. And I would, if I was doing it, a quarterback situation would also include how much money that you're paying to your quarterback, which then in turn will affect the remaining roster makeup of what you've got. And they did it with like 1 to 100. Quarterback was 20%, the rest of the roster 30%, front office 25%, and the coaching 25% was the kind of breakdown for all 32. And then the scores are just like you would in school. 100 is A+, 90 to 99 is A, 80 to 89 B, and so on and so forth, right? In your mind, just thinking about who people have and where would you like who is set up the best?
So I get it. It's like a futures ranking, but I always look back at when these things come out, like who has sustained success in the past,
right?
And which tells me it's solid front office, making smart moves, and obviously solid players and personnel and quarterback especially, which is hard. I mean, you're seeing some teams, it's just like a quarterback every other year. It's almost rare nowadays to find a quarterback that's been there longer than 5 years, which makes Dak Prescott that much more impressive, his longevity wearing the Cowboys uniform. I would say someone like the Eagles would be they're constant, they're right there. Playoff contention, all that stuff, and there's a quarterback stability there. Jalen Hurts, what year is he going into as a starter? What year would this be? But
21 through. So
he's one of the. If you think, I would like to see a list of longest tenured starters at one place. He would actually be up there. So I'd say Philadelphia.
Philadelphia's number 2.
Philadelphia's number 2. Okay,
number 2 on the list. Overall roster. Outside of quarterback, they ranked it as the second best. They ranked the front office number 1, which Howie Roseman gets all kinds of credit around the draft. It feels like for the past 3 or 4 years, when you look at the draft grades, the Eagles have been at the top with A's, with all the guys that they've been able to find. And Hurts definitely included in that. They rank him as 14th best quarterback. And then coaching with Nick Sirianni, which – this may be a tick unfair, even though I know with his results to me are probably better than the perception of Nick Sirianni, and a lot of that is a couple of the seasons with Hurts at quarterback. It's almost felt like he's lost the locker room twice. Yeah, coming off the loss, and it's weird. It's always after a Super Bowl. They get beat by the Chiefs in that great game, controversial call at the end. Then the very next year, they start out hot, where they win like 9. They were like 9-0, limped into the playoffs, and that's the year that Tampa Bay whipped them with Mayfield versus Hurts in that playoff game. Then they bounce back the very next year and win it all. And then last year, just kind of it seemed like it was back to the 2 years ago. Like lots of rumblings as far as Jalen Hurts' sustainability as a quarterback, as a leader, kind of just his demeanor is sort of sour. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're number 2. And a big part of that is everything that's around Jalen Hurts and the front office that continues to solidify that roster.
What I like is this, what you're telling me here, this doesn't account for drama. You're always going to get that drama that the guys on Get Up can talk about, but it doesn't equate to anything. It's just these are solid numbers, and I like that list. I like it that it doesn't really matter. Like, Jalen Hurts isn't a very vocal leader. Well, they don't care. I mean, he produces, and he's been there a starter for so many years. Quarterback room looks solid. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's a testament to a lot of it's Howie Roseman. Because think about this. They still rank them as the second overall roster outside of quarterback, and they got rid of A.J. Brown. He was one of the better receivers in
Right.
that. But he also speaks to a little bit of that drama you're talking about. That's not necessarily built into this.
Yeah, that's true.
Number one is the Seattle Seahawks.
Your defending champs.
Very similar makeup outside of coaching, because they rank them as the best overall roster with excluding the quarterback, but they rank Sam Darnold 16th. So very, very similar them and the Eagles in that regard. What pushes Seattle ahead of Philly is coaching. They've got Mike McDonald as the third best coaching staff, and then front office is second, right behind Philly. Now there's a big discrepancy as far as the points generated between the front offices of Philadelphia and Seattle that make this really close. Like they give Howie Roseman a 96.5 out of 100. And the next best front office, Seattle, is 87.25. So that's a big difference. But it's made up in the other spots for Seattle to be number one. And when you think about what Seattle has done, they're following along a lot of the model that number 3 has already done. And number 3 is Detroit. And when I say what they've done, Detroit with this group, starting with, 2 years ago when they went to the NFC title game, or maybe 3 now, actually 3 years ago when they went to the NFC title game, what did they do? They locked up their young guys at lower before the market was set. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We talked about it even back then with Penei Sewell. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown at that time. They did it with Jahmyr Gibbs this year in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps that they got Jared Goff, who isn't at the top of the pay scale by any stretch, but still makes plenty of money. But that's kind of what Seattle has done this offseason, locking up Witherspoon already, who's he was a first-round pick at corner, has been a Pro Bowler like every single year. Bam, let's get him locked up before we're paying top of the market. So basically what I'm saying is Seattle, Philly, Detroit, they do exactly what the Cowboys don't. They get their guys signed early, and then they set the market, forcing everybody else to pay more. And unfortunately, the Cowboys especially kind of jump into that trap every single time. Number 4 is Denver. Once again, there's sort of a theme here. In at least the top 4, it's, we've got a good quarterback. We're not paying him the top of the market money, or they're still young, like Bo Nix here, on his rookie deal, and everybody else around them is awesome. Then we get to the Rams.
Well, that's an oddity.
Yeah, the Rams are the ones that are kind of weird here. Because, those other teams that we just mentioned, they have definitely built through the draft. Whereas the Rams, it doesn't feel like they finally did make a first-round pick of Ty Simpson this year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they made a first-round pick ever since they made the Stafford trade. And even when they got past that point, as far as what they traded off, they've been using first rounders as trade pieces. And we saw that again with Myles Garrett this offseason in acquiring him. Also, McDuffie, corner from Kansas City. So that if you want to kind of analogize it with college football, the Rams are totally transfer portal. They're not recruiting any high school kids. They're not drafting for the in the top rounds. No, they're using the transfer portal. They're using free agency and trading to continue to keep that window open as long as Matt Stafford is the starting quarterback. Now, and this is their quarterback rank as far as the quarterback room in that situation is 24th, which is totally understandable for the next 3. once again, we're not talking about next year. We're talking about the 3 after that. Mm-hmm. And so not a lot of trust in Ty Simpson so far with that ranking. But the rest of that roster and the coaching is number one with Sean McVay. Front office still good. And that's the front office can do it a lot of different ways, and we're seeing the Rams do it completely different way than all the others at the top of the list. We finally get down at number 6 to what I would consider like one of the quarterbacks of the future, and that's the Patriots with Drake May.
Yeah.
I mean, like by 2029, the Rams will almost definitely have a different quarterback. Denver, you would think, would still have Nix, but we'll probably see. Yeah, are we sure? No, are we sure about Detroit with Goff, Jalen, and the Eagles, Darnold in Seattle? That's 4 years from now. I mean, are we totally sure they're still going to be there? You feel pretty certain that Drake May is the first on this list that you're positive will still be the quarterback of these teams, and that's why they're number 3.
Yeah, I mean, with the run they had last year with him at quarterback, it feels like he's ready to take the next step. And that's what I think everyone in New England's thinking and Boston's thinking is, okay, next step. The next step is winning the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. They'll also have to figure out what some other teams down the list, Kansas City most notably, has figured out, because you feel like Drake May is going to be at the top of the pay scale eventually when it's time for him to re-sign and extend off of his rookie deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where, they're kind of in the sweet spot as far as these next 3 years. They're able to really put things around him in the first, this year, next year, and then by the time he kicks in, you hope that he is on the track to be one of the best, and that then all of a sudden he's making other guys better than maybe what they're getting paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like we saw with Brady, like we've seen with Mahomes throughout the years.
So I pulled up the list.
Mm-hmm.
One stood out to me that I think is high, and it's kind of shocking to me, and it especially shocking because of where the quarterback is ranked. The quarterback situation, whatever it's called, is ranked. No, I'm not. Excuse me, I looked at that rank wrong. So maybe it's not as shocking, as high as that particular ranking is. But for Houston at 8,
mm-hmm.
and I think you and me agree, Stroud seems kind of iffy at quarterback.
Man, he is. I actually texted Mark about this last week because they were talking about C.J. Stroud. And, like, if you did a blind resume without knowing who it was.
Yeah.
And if I told you that 3 years in, this quarterback for his career has completed, oh gosh, where'd it go? Has completed 64% of his passes. Has thrown 62 touchdowns versus 25 picks, so almost 3-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And has won a playoff game in all 3 of his seasons to start his career. I think you'd be like, oh, yeah, we got our quarterback.
Right.
Problem is,
pay the man.
Yeah. Oh, and already kind of, I think they already have. But the problem is, everybody saw what he looked like against New England in that playoff game last year. Complete deer in the headlights. Mm-hmm. Like maybe even past that. Like scared to death looking. And that's why, he was phenomenal his rookie year. Little worse. I mean, he's had some injury stuff too. But yeah, he is like the enigma to me of the young quarterbacks that have come out in the last couple of years that ought to be, I mean, I think if they made this list or if they made this ranking before last year and certainly after his rookie year, yeah, Stroud would be higher than 14th. That quarterback room would be higher than 14th on the list with how he started. And he's still, like I said, he's still won a playoff game every year. But you're right. I think a lot of people are very, very nervous about the direction of C.J. Stroud. And the thing about that is, for sure for the next couple of years with that defense, I mean, it's not going to take a ton. Like, just don't throw it to the other team. And Houston's going to be right there. I mean, I really think you could make the case because of the way the AFC ended up shaking out last year. I mean, two teams really had to be disappointed watching New England just get thrashed in the Super Bowl. One of them was was Buffalo. With Josh Allen was the best player in the world and the worst player in the world in that Denver game, and made some unbelievable plays, but also essentially cost them the game with the turnovers. And C.J. Stroud in Houston. They lose that game to New England on his shoulders. Like, just don't make mistakes. And I think both of those teams feel like, you know what, we should have been the ones playing in the Super Bowl last year because of what they had. All you had to beat was a couple second-year guys. And neither one of them get it done. Yeah. Baltimore, talk about teams that always seem to be in the mix. Baltimore always seems to be in the mix. And they've still got quarterback Lamar number 4, which that's probably, if you extended this very much further out, maybe that number goes down a little bit because of his age, and obviously his injury history is what it is. And they still haven't signed him to another extension. And then a new coach. Their coaching is 17th right now. That would have been top 5 easy.
Yeah.
If this was a year ago. Chargers. Keep on waiting on the Chargers and Harbaugh, and it feels like they built it right, but there's been a couple teams, them in Detroit, the last couple of years. Everybody has injuries, I get it, but boy, have they been decimated especially on the offensive line, which they're trying to build the way that like the Eagles built with offensive and defensive line. They just hadn't had those guys healthy, and that's not helped Herbert out. This is probably a lot of people say Justin Herbert would be in the top handful of most pressure on him this year to be able to get out there and do what people think he should be able to do. Kansas City 11, Chicago 12. 49ers down the list a little bit, and the Bills both. For as good as they've been, they're down the list a little bit further than you think. Then there's Dallas at 16, proverbial right in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, big year for Dallas, and especially coaching, I think. If you think about it, ranked at 22nd, if they can bounce back from last year's debacle, new defensive coordinator, drafted defensive heavy in the draft, so they could make their future a little brighter if they could have a good year this year. I'm going to ask about the quarterbacks in college football this year that might be able to bump some of these teams up depending on where they get drafted. I actually think that Dallas has a guy that's going to make a difference, but on the other side, and it's Downs. Absolutely agree. I said it before the draft. He was the most athletic dude in the draft overall. And when I'm saying that out loud, I was thinking in the back of my mind, I really hope somehow Dallas gets him because of what I just said. And 2, they need that help on that side of the ball. He has a chance to be an immediate impact kind of guy.
We'll have to go through the Micah Parsons trade because when it happened, everybody killed the Cowboys about it. That's not looking near as lopsided now as it did at the time. And that's the thing about some of these NFL trades. And NBA is like that too, depending on how big the star is that's traded. But it takes a while for everything to convey. As far as the picks that you got and all that kind of stuff. And man, with re-signing Quinnen Williams, which in a lot of ways, Quinnen Williams at the defensive tackle position was more important than Micah Parsons rushing the passer just because of how porous Dallas's run defense has been. at times, and they're trying to shore that up. We know the Cowboys are going to score points with what they've got. But once again, that's just this year on offense. And there's some questions, George Pickens being one of the biggest ones, moving forward on this list of why the overall roster outside of Dak is 18th. Well, there's some question marks in there as far as guys that are on the team this year but may not be there moving forward. But Dallas isn't awful.
No.
Going into this season.
If they're healthy, because even last year health played a large part in that season as well. If the defense is better, like you said, they can score points. They will score points.
Of the quarter,
on Dallas, I mean, the Von Miller thing's interesting. I don't know how much he can. I mean, he's gonna help the defense as far as getting attention that's going to allow others to have success. I think. At first I thought it was just a novelty thing. He was just trying to extend his career and maybe end it where he's from in Texas, and that he's from that area, I think, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Didn't Coach Meadows coach him in high school?
Yeah, DeSoto.
DeSoto. Okay, I couldn't remember the school.
Yeah.
So, but now reading more about it and hearing more about it, people really like it. Getting Von Miller on that.
Well,
defense.
he could be totally situational, and a guy like that, with what he does in the NFL, it's week in, week out. It's always close. For the most part, it's close games. A play or two here changes the complexion of everything. Hey, get him loose once or twice, maybe all that you really need from a guy like that. One team that is incredibly low on this list, and it's almost shocking to see.
Let me try to guess.
I mean, it's shocking. You're going to have to go clear almost to the bottom because they're down there with the dregs of the league.
Steelers.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got the Steelers 30th.
Is it that bad?
I mean, here's what's crazy. I mean, because you got Cleveland at 28, no surprise. Jets at 29, no surprise.
They're above them. That's a surprise.
Miami 31, no surprise. And then, of course, Arizona at 32. But then Pittsburgh is right in the middle of those four teams at 30. That's just not something that you're used to seeing. A lot of that, I think, has to do with not necessarily this year, but that defense is getting old. With Ramsey and Hayward and T.J. Watt, they're getting old. The quarterback is old. You have no idea if Drew Aller, and matter of fact, quarterback room is dead last on this list. So that's not something that you see very often. And they wouldn't be 30th going into this year, but for those next three, I mean they've got some real concerns. And front office being 27th, they have drafted well. But that's not something that's very familiar as far as the Steelers being down there with those types of teams with a futures ranking. But quarterbacks, who are some or do you think there's quarterbacks coming into this the draft next year that are going to play their last year of college football this year that could almost single-handedly start boosting some of these teams, like the Steelers, for instance?
I think you put
is it Aller?
I think you put Manning on that Steelers team like next year. Yeah, it's going to boost that rating anyways and give them a brighter future. And it really depends if Manning has a heck of a year this season and everyone's like, okay, that's the Manning blood, that's the Manning pedigree that we're used to seeing. It will transfer into the NFL ranks. Just look at the uncles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can see you can put Manning on a lot of these different teams, and it's going to give them a lot of hope in the future.
Yeah, I think you got Dante Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see where the Jets would be if he was on, if he would have been drafted by them this year. How many spots that might bump them up. But in a lot of ways, this is who's your coach, who's your front office, do you have stability at quarterback, and then do you have a bunch of young guys,
right,
around that are going to be around.
It's going to be around that you can grow with. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that question is going to take a little research because you're going to have to find, like, okay, what guy could come out, could it be Vestamaker? Could Vestamaker have a good year? There's a lot of talk that he could be even a number one guy if he has a great year and he's already pro-ready, pro-style offense.
I've seen 2028 mock draft of him being number one overall pick.
So I think it would be worth if he stays a year or another year, and I think his stock could.
He just hasn't played quarterback.
Right.
Like in his life, not just at the college level. He hadn't played much in his life.
He's a guy. I'm taking like this year, though. Manning is a good one. What is like Chambliss? Could Chambliss, is he going to be a guy? I don't know. He just seems more of a college guy and not an NFL guy.
You know who?
There's nothing wrong with that. You see that all the time.
You know who Trinidad Chambliss hopes has a really good year this year?
Who?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Similar types of players. That would just help. Oh, yeah, well, Kyler played good this year. Trinidad can, too. He's got some of the same, not as fast maybe, but some of the same magic.
Is Sam Levitt a guy who could come out?
Maybe. Oh, yeah, I mean, he's eligible for sure.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
He looks kind of pro style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a handful of those guys that'll be on these teams next year.
When the job demands power, performance, and reliability, count on JCB from Rother Brothers Equipment. Located on Highway 183 north of Clinton, Rother Brothers carries a full lineup of JCB excavators, skid steers, wheel loaders, aerial lifts, forklifts, tractors, and compacting equipment to help you tackle any project. Whether you're in construction, farming, or oil and gas, JCB is built to get the job done. See them in person or visit rotherbrothers.com and see why more professionals choose JCB. Tough equipment, trusted service, ready to work. Rother Brothers in Clinton.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, wrapping up a Rother Brothers Monday. Thank you to Mike and the gang over at Rother Brothers, Highway 183, just north of Clinton. Rother Brothers got it all. And don't forget the Yoder pellet smokers. Got all the equipment and all the parts, but don't forget about that. It's the gift that keeps on giving throughout the year. You can make delicious food on the Yoder smokers. All right, if I ask you, what are you most excited about for this college football season? It's like outside of OU and OSU.
Right.
Where do you kind of go?
I think I don't think there's a clear favorite to win the national title. I think there's about 7, almost 8 teams that you can legitimately have an argument for winning the national title. So, I guess parity, it would be my answer. I mean, yes, Ohio State preseason coaches poll number 1 probably will be AP.
That's today.
That's today. Cool, we'll find out. I mean, I could Ohio State, Notre Dame, Oregon, Georgia. I can make cases for all 4 of them, and the list goes on and on. So, I think just the excitement of the possibility of about 8, maybe, and then even after that, I mean, look what Indiana's done. So it gives a lot of teams like OSU and others hope, like, we can be the next Indiana. So I'm just excited for the hope that a lot of teams have going into this season that they could win a national title.
Indiana specifically is something that I'm looking forward to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that you can flash in the pan. They've had 2 seasons now. Is Cignetti Saban? Is Cignetti Kirby Smart? A little bit of Dabo in there, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Is he that, or was it just the perfect storm at the right time? Like, is Indiana really this sustainable to where we're talking about them year in, year out amongst Ohio State, Michigan? We'll see about Penn State, USC, Oregon, as real threats to win the Big Ten year in and year out, or was this just sort of a blip on the radar screen? They're intriguing as anything to me, especially with the personality and the attitude that Cignetti has.
Yeah.
And the shots that he'll fire. In those ways, who he reminds me of?
Who?
Bob.
Yeah.
taking shots at the SEC like he does, like Bob used to,
Yeah.
having really huge amounts of early success, winning a national title undefeated in your second season. Now,
Like Signetti, Bob did it the same. He took those shots with ammo. He had something to back it up with, and Signetti has a lot to back it up with that title.
I mean, totally different situations and histories. I mean, Bob took over a blue blood, and Signetti did it at Kansas State / Indiana. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that it's maybe not on the same level there, but they kind of remind me of each other in that way. The Big 12 as a whole, I mean, that has been kind of the most fun in college football since Oklahoma and Texas left, has been the Big 12. It's just been, the first year Arizona State literally finished last, and they come out and they win the conference and they go to the playoff and give Texas everything they wanted in that first game that they played.
Yeah.
And then last year, a lot of people liked Tech going in. I don't know how many had a bunch of faith in Tech, because Tech has been, clear back to the Kingsbury days, kind of that under-the-radar chic pick to do something, and they would start out good and just fade.
Right.
In the second half of the season. And so Tech finally did kind of break through. Now we'll see what they do with the target right squarely on their back. And obviously a different quarterback, and just the possibility. The Big 12, it's been the wild card conference so far in the first couple of years. Nobody's taking control of it, and that's led to wild results. And then of the SEC teams, people could make a case for about half the conference.
Yeah.
To be playoff team / good enough to maybe challenge to win the SEC. But as we saw last year, there's going to be 2 or 3 of those teams in that mix that'll fall by the wayside a little bit, and there's going to be 2 or 3 that you didn't hear a lot about, and people thought, well, they could be good if this, if that, a bunch of ifs that come together. Oklahoma, Texas A&M being those, and then in some ways Ole Miss as well, because the if there was, can they, a little bit like Indiana, but not to the same level, but can they flash the Jackson Dart team was supposed to be the team. They got upset by Florida, didn't make the playoff. Well, that was going to be their team, and then last year's was even better. So what's their sustainability as far as being in the race year in, year out? And then who is the little guy?
The little guy like a Boise or Memphis.
UNLV
has been
seen some
chatter about them.
New Mexico. A lot of people like them after the season they had a year ago. Have you seen who's in the quarterback? Who is in the midst of the quarterback battle at Vandy?
At Vandy, is it the young man from Cushing?
Yes, Blaze Berlowitz.
Okay.
Right in the battle with the number 1 prospect, Jared Curtis. That's something to watch.
That's interesting.
Well,
we've seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
He can whip it around the yard.
No doubt about it. And then, now somebody it goes back to the Big 12, but like BYU. And then there's certain days on the calendar. That 4th week or the 2nd week see what Oklahoma State's got for Oregon. Obviously OU, Michigan, OSU, or Ohio State and Texas. There's another pretty decent game. Week 10 is a huge week. The Holy War is in there with a bunch of SEC games and Big 10 games. There's always like 3 weeks or so out of the schedule where they name it.
Yeah. Also interested to see what new coaches look like in their new roles or new jobs. There's a lot there to unpack.
You know who's sort of under the radar in that?
Who's that?
James Franklin.
Over at
Virginia
Tech.
Yeah. You don't hear just a ton about that.
Might be a good situation for him.
It really could be.
Expectations aren't as high as they are at Penn State. Virginia Tech just looking to get back to a respectable level in the ACC.
And we're far enough away from Beamer. There's been coaches in between,
Right.
plenty of coaches in between, so you're not having to follow that.
Right.
That could be a really good spot for him. Similar recruiting area, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, he's not moving. He's not Kalen DeBoer going from Washington to Alabama.
I mean, once upon a time, kids, Blacksburg was not a place you wanted to go play.
Oh, no.
It was, especially at night, especially if they chose to do like a blackout or something.
Enter Sandman.
Enter Sandman. It's rocking. And he could have success there.
I could see
he
that.
Could turn that. He can bring that back if he can win a few games, pull a couple of upsets. Maybe knock off Miami or something. I don't know if they play this year, but something like that. I might be secretly rooting for the guy.
Yeah, and it's
But then,
it's
if
in the
he
ACC and not the Big Ten.
has
so-
an unranked team or say if he's 15th ranked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they host a number 3 ranked Miami and they lose a close one. It doesn't turn into, well, he can't beat the teams in the top 5. It's Virginia Tech.
Well, I'll be honest with you. His road schedule isn't favorable.
What is it?
What's that? The next to last week of October, he goes to Clemson. First week in November, he goes to SMU, which a lot of people think will be one of those better teams in the ACC again. And then the 21st of November, he goes to Miami. Ouch. That's 3 of the best teams in your conference that you got to all play on the road, and then going out to Cal from Virginia. That's not going to be fun. Just with the travel and the Cal quarterback. That's the weird name. It was a freshman last year. A lot of people like Lefty. Yeah, that's scheduling ain't that great as far as the road games. But I think he's like when it happened, there was a lot of notoriety about it. But as we've moved closer, a lot of the talk on the new coaches is not in Blacksburg.
No.
With James Franklin. And, of course, the state stuff. I mean, obviously, there's lots of things to be excited about. The unknown at Oklahoma State, the freshness, the newness at Oklahoma State. And then at OU, what's more real? The first year in the SEC at 2-6 or the second year in the SEC at 6-2?
A lot of people talking about them as a dark horse.
Yeah.
So everybody believes in Brent Venable's defense. They think it's built. It's there. It's why they hired him. Now the question is, can the offense get better? If the offense get a little better, the team you got to reckon with. You got to deal with.
No doubt. All right, everybody, have a great Rother Brothers Monday. Be back tomorrow, inching closer to the start of football season. And the shows become so much easier to prep for. We can talk about games and not what ifs.
Yeah.
Everybody have a great Monday. It's Skinny on Sports right here on the Sports Channel.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered around.